So I work with Dutch Mammal Society. We're working close together with Erik Korsten. We started up this program of this project when he was still working with us, and we're still working together. So I thought it was important to stay there because he did a lot of work. What I'm going to talk about. Some legislation, I think you all know, but all European bat species protected by the Habitat Directive, including all Dutch bats, of course, and is implemented in the Dutch Flora and Fauna Wet, so Flora Fauna Act, for the people not from the Netherlands. And yeah, like I think in all countries, but it's not all countries. It's the same procedure as the Netherlands. But when your project harm bats, you have to ask for a permit, and the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Agriculture, Innovation. It seems a bit odd, maybe for the people from abroad, because nature is this economic affairs, agriculture, innovation. Probably none of them, but it's still at that ministry. When you get a permit, it's almost always with compulsory mitigation and compensation measures. So you have to take some measures to compensate the effects you're causing on the population of bats over there. It also includes bat boxes, so that's why it comes all together at this day. These permits are almost you can get them. I shifted some of the text. But the mitigation and compensation measures, they're not compulsory in the Flora Fauna Act itself. So it's not said you always have to compensate what you damage, but it's a requirement because of you have to maintain the favorable conservation status. So the gunstige staat van de standhouding in Dutch. And that's why you almost always have to take these measures. Well, regarding bat boxes, there are some interesting questions because we do not know much about how it works with within the permits that are given. So are bat boxes often part of the permits compulsory measures? Does it happen a lot? We do have some ideas, but it was never really checked. For which species are bat boxes to be used? What does the permit say? For which species is it compulsory? For what reason? And then, I mean, which function for the bats has to be, are the bat boxes to be used? And are they monitored? And is there something we can learn from them? Is there any monitoring scheme at all just for that one project? So that's why we started this project, because we had all these questions and we didn't really know how it... we didn't know the answer to all those questions, so that's why I started this project. It was funded by the province of North Brabant. It's just, we could have done it in any province, to be honest, but there's also a province where it happens a lot. It's quite a densely populated province. There's a lot of projects with building and demolition and building roads and all that kind of stuff. And also they have some money for doing research and get some education projects for species like bats. Like in Spain, there's not much money in the Netherlands anymore for this kind of project, but the province of North Brabant is one of the provinces that still do have some money and want to spend it. This project is about more than just the analysis of these permits, but what we did is we just looked at all the permits in 5 years' time and had a look at did it concern bats, and if it did concern bats, did it concern bat boxes, and what do we know about it? What information can we get from the permits that are just published on the website of the ministry? And after that, we tried to reveal the location of bat boxes, if that was the case, and if we could reveal some monitoring data. Just very simple, just take a phone and call them or emailing them and just trying to get them information. And the idea is, and we still haven't done that yet, is to go in the field and check if those bat boxes are being placed and if we can see if they are used or not. So like I said, it's not completely finished because the last part we didn't do it yet, but we already have some interesting results which I'd like to share with you. And that's, well, start with this. Like I said, we started with just looking at all the permits in those 5 years in that province. Almost like a third of the permits concerned bats, so it's quite a lot, I think. And the half of the permits with bats, they see bat boxes as a part of the solution. And in all these projects, there are effects, negative effects on bats. Sometimes maybe only like one building that's being demolished, or just a couple of trees that are taken out. But sometimes those big projects with a lot of renovation or demolishing of buildings. But in the half of the cases, like I said, they thought that bed boxes are part of the solution. In total, we know that there are at least 235 bed boxes placed in the province in those 5 years. But in 80 permits, the number of bed boxes is not explicitly mentioned. So we really have no idea. And if we don't have any idea from reading the permit, how can the permit holder then have any idea on how many bed boxes he has to put up? In some of those cases, it must be in the report that has been written by the ecological advisors that goes along with the permit request. But we could not check that because the information is not public. Well, like I said, at least 235 bed boxes and probably more. The highest number at one location, 42 bed boxes. I think that's quite a lot. Well, what kind of boxes are used then? Well, I had to translate some of the the types that we distinguished, and it was not always that easy. But in 20 occasions, it's just said you have to put up bed boxes, and no specification on what kind of boxes should be used. Also, often the small bed boxes, prefab boxes, or bed boxes should be integrated in the wall. Maternity roost, yeah, boeibord. I don't know who's got a good English word for it. I don't know. Eaves? Yeah, okay. Do all the English people understand that or no? There's also 9 occasions, hibernation boxes and just large facilities, whatever that may be, because not all specified. This is what I think is what strikes me, that it's not very specific. It's not said like you have to use 18 boxes of that company with that type. We can say for which species. Well, most of the time, because there are 2 permits, they're not even species mentioned, and still they have to put up some bed boxes. I think that strikes me. We could expect, I think, the common pipistrelle is one of the species that occurs in almost all permits that we found where bed boxes should be used, and brown longibed. And well, I think that is quite what we could expect, except for the last one. Still very strange. Which functions? The bed box is used for a purpose, so which function needs to be replaced by a bed box? It's quite often for hibernation and also for maternity roost. Sometimes it's unknown. We have no idea from the permit for what reason the bed box should be used and should function. And also some 2 cases they didn't find any roost in the research, and still they have to apply some bed boxes. I used to work also in that period, but then for not in the province of Brabant, for the same department that I would say who gives all the permits as an ecologist. And it was always you can only give a permit if there are specifically named species that were determined in the project area. So you cannot really say, oh, okay, put up some bed boxes just because we think they could be there. That's a bit strange, but well, it's good they've done it. It can't do any harm, so that's not a big problem. Not the biggest problem in this case, I think. And also another question. We really wanted to know, can we get this data? Is it being collected anyhow? And because we want to learn from that. And can we use those data and that knowledge for other projects? Well, as I told, in 37 permits, bat boxes were to be used, but how many of those projects you think had to be monitored?
All of them.
No. Six of them. So there's not...
To be clear, that is a number that needed to be monitored from the stated in the permit you have to monitor.
Yeah. Could be that other projects were monitored as well, or could be. We try to reveal those data. Like I said, we call those municipalities and project developers, and well, just in one case, we now all have the monitoring data, which was not very surprising because it's one of our own projects, so it's just in our own database. It's a project we do for Dienstlandig Gebied in Noord-Brabant. So we have those data, and we do it now for monitoring. Now it's this year for the third year, and we see some bat boxes being used, but not all of them for the function that they should be the alternative for. What I was telling you about was just a small part of a bigger project. We're writing a series of articles about it. Erik Korsten, I think tomorrow, your analysis was basically partly based on this project, I think. And Erik Jans is telling you later this afternoon about another part of the project. And now we will write series articles and get some brochures out. And hopefully, maybe from today you can also, if there's new information, we write it down and help spread the message on how to use bat boxes in a proper way.